All right, y'all. I'll be snacking on some pistachios. Okay. Okay, for real though, I'm getting hit with inspiration in this moment. Okay, this just came to me. One of the ways that you can find your purpose, and I do think that it's like, I think it's an unfolding in some way or another for everybody. But one of the ways that you can find it is like things that people like were really triggered about you, or hated about you, or they tried to trump you in that way. Like it was something about it that was like, because there was probably this hidden animosity, this jealousy that they didn't like that you had, because I'm thinking in particular, one thing was like, for me, is it was like, I always had really smart, and I had this moment earlier of like, I don't know that I ever want to have an IQ test, and I really don't, like, that doesn't matter to me. Because I think there's all kinds of different types of intelligence, like even emotional intelligence and stuff. So, but like speaking truth and like giving knowledge, like I just had this like moment, and it was like, yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like people don't like seeing truth and that aren't ready for it. But like, it's challenging the matrix and the status quo and the fact that we're governed and all of these things. So, but it's like, if you are driven by that, if you're driven by truth, if you're driven by learning, it's like, even if you, cause like I think about growing up, and I had both of my siblings were very, very studious, and I always saw them as smarter than me, and I always saw my friends as smarter than me, and that was always the way I perceived it. And it could have been that was like low self-esteem or whatever, but like I also had different things happen where other people would talk about how they knew all these things, and it was like there is that in general, like you do become kind of humble, even though people perceive you as entitled sometimes, but whatever. That may just be person to person, like some people have more pride than others and whatever. So it's, but that being humble is like you get humbled if you're not. Like it is what it is. So, but it's a process, it's an unfolding, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it continues to be something you have to like validate yourself for, because the world isn't going to give you that validation, and it's going to be like particular to you, and your journey and how that works, because it's sort of like in different ways. It's like the Most High, the divine God, like works it where it's like he wants you to keep going within. He wants you to keep doing your self-reflection. He wants you to keep seeking him, and not the outside validation, not all of the money and all of the fame and stuff like that. And it continues to be hard. Like our ego doesn't just completely dissipate. Like you can tame it, but it doesn't just like disappear. So, it's like, there's always a little bit of that hunger for attention and validation. Again, I'm speaking from how it's been for me, but, there's this inner drive of these things that you know that you want to do, and that you know that you want to be, and that helps you kind of to embody those things, even if the world around you isn't constantly validating you for. And then it's like, once you embrace that about yourself, that's so powerful. It's almost like, I always think of like the solar plexus, of just like that empowerment within, of like, I am this thing. And then you attract those people who are like, fuck yeah, man, like you're a badass like artist. I don't know what it would be like. It's whatever it is. It's like, then you have those people that also like see that within you, and aren't like intimidated by it. And I think it's more just like, you just more and more don't need the validation. So you're like, okay, I'm this thing, and if people don't like it, that's okay. Because I always think about art, because it's like so many writers and artists didn't become popular until they were dead, and it's like until they passed on, and it's like, that's the thing. It's like, it's whatever your is most empowering to you, and that brings you that fulfillment, and that brings the divine will reflect that of like applauding you, or like, you know, you'll have that feeling of like chills or gratitude. And that's a blessing too. It's like, that's the thing too about this journey, is like there's so many parts about it, they're hard, and that people aren't there beside you to know what you're having to navigate. But then, you know, there's these little pieces that God shows you, like, this is what you wanted, you know, this is sacred to you, this is a way that you wanted to give back, or whatever it is. Okay, I just want to speak that.